There's something about a man who moves with quiet confidence, not the kind that's loud or boastful, not the kind that needs attention, but the kind that lives in his energy, calm, centered, and deeply grounded. A confident woman doesn't need a man to prove himself. She feels him before he says a word. His presence alone says everything. The way he carries himself, the way he looks at her without trying to own her, the way his silence feels peaceful rather than distant. That's what draws her in. Because she's learned that true confidence doesn't shout. It whispers, it speaks softly through consistency, through stability, through the unspoken promise of safety. A confident woman isn't impressed by charm alone, she's moved by depth. She's attracted to a man who knows who he is, not because he's perfect, but because he's self-aware. He doesn't hide behind ego or power, he stands in truth. He's done the inner work, faced his shadows, and learned how to love without losing himself. When he looks at her, it's not from a place of possession, but from admiration. He sees her strength, her softness, her complexity, and he doesn't try to change it, he honors it. She's drawn to the kind of man whose energy feels safe, because safety for a confident woman is the most seductive thing in the world. She's lived through chaos, she's known the weight of uncertainty, and now she craves peace. A man who can offer her peace, not through promises, but through presence, becomes unforgettable. He doesn't play games. He doesn't manipulate her emotions or make her question her worth. His energy is steady, and when he says something, he means it. That kind of reliability is magnetic to a woman who's already learned to depend on herself. He's emotionally intelligent, and that's rare. He understands that love isn't just about grand gestures or big words. It's about understanding, listening, and holding space. When she speaks, he truly listens. Not to respond, not to fix, but to understand. He gives her his full attention, and that alone makes her feel seen. Because being seen, truly seen, is something every strong woman longs for, not for validation, but for connection. And when he does that, when he listens with patience and empathy, she feels herself relax. Her guard lowers, her energy softens, and suddenly, she's not just strong, she's safe enough to be soft. A confident woman doesn't want to be rescued, she wants to be respected. And a man who understands that will always have her heart. He doesn't feel threatened by her independence. He celebrates it. He doesn't try to make her smaller so he can feel big. He knows that when she stands in her power, it doesn't take away from his, it amplifies it. Together, they rise higher. He gives her space to be her full self, the woman who leads, who dreams, who builds, who inspires. He's not intimidated by her light, he's drawn to it because it mirrors his own. This man doesn't compete with her, he complements her. His masculine energy doesn't overpower her feminine, it balances it. When he's around, she doesn't feel the need to prove herself or perform strength. She can simply be. That's what real chemistry feels like, not fire that burns out, but warmth that stays. And in that warmth, she finds comfort, attraction, and alignment. He's vulnerable, but not weak. That's what sets him apart. He knows that opening up doesn't take away from his strength, it deepens it. When he shares his fears, his hopes, his truth, he builds intimacy. Because to a confident woman, vulnerability is a form of trust. It tells her, you can see the real me. And that kind of honesty pulls her closer. She doesn't want perfection. She wants presence. She wants a man who's brave enough to show her who he really is, even when it's not polished or perfect. What makes him even more attractive is his purpose. A man who knows why he wakes up in the morning, who moves through life with intention, who's building something. That's magnetic, not because of his success, but because of his drive. His purpose gives his energy direction. It makes him grounded, focused, unshakable. A confident woman feels that alignment. She feels the fire in him, and it inspires her own. When a man walks with purpose, he doesn't need to chase. He attracts. But more than his ambition, she's drawn to his peace. He's not controlled by chaos, not constantly seeking external validation. He's learned how to sit with himself, how to be still, how to enjoy solitude. And that emotional stability, that inner peace, makes him irresistible. Because when a man is at peace with himself, his love becomes peace for her too. A confident woman sees right through facades. She knows when a man's confidence is real and when it's performance. Real confidence is humble. It doesn't need to dominate or control. It holds space, protects, uplifts. And that's what makes him unforgettable. He's the man she doesn't have to question. The one whose actions align with his words. The one whose energy feels like home. That's the kind of man every confident woman is drawn to, not because he's the loudest in the room, but because he's the calmest. Not because he demands attention, but because he earns respect. Not because he chases her, but because his energy makes her want to stay. A confident woman has lived through enough to know the difference between chemistry and connection. She's felt the spark that fades, and she's experienced the depth that lasts. And that's why she's drawn to a man whose energy doesn't just excite her. It grounds her. He doesn't rush her. He doesn't overwhelm her. He meets her with calm assurance, allowing the connection to unfold naturally. Because he knows that real love isn't a performance, it's a partnership. It's not about control, it's about flow. She's drawn to a man who's emotionally aware, one who understands that attraction is not built on intensity alone, but on safety, communication, and trust. This man isn't afraid to sit in silence with her, to listen to what her energy says even when her words don't come. He feels her shifts. He notices when she's tired, when her spirit feels heavy. And instead of asking her to explain herself, he holds space for her. He lets her know, without needing to fix anything, that he's there. That kind of emotional intelligence, that quiet, grounded attentiveness, speaks volumes to a confident woman who's had to carry herself for far too long. He's the man who doesn't flinch when she expresses her truth. When she sets boundaries, he doesn't take offense. He respects her for it. Because he knows that boundaries aren't rejection, they're protection. They're the sign of a woman who values herself. And a man who can hold space for that without ego, without defensiveness, shows her that he's different. He's not just interested in what she can give him, he's invested in who she is. A confident woman is drawn to the kind of man who communicates with clarity. There's no guessing, no confusion, no emotional games. His words match his actions. When he says he'll call, he does. When he says he cares, he shows it. He's transparent, honest, and emotionally present. And that consistency builds trust. She can relax in his presence because she knows she doesn't have to question where she stands. For a woman who's built walls to protect her peace, that level of stability is the most attractive thing in the world. And then there's the way he leads, not through dominance, but through direction. He doesn't control, he guides. He leads with integrity, not with ego. A confident woman feels safe following a man who's guided by purpose because his leadership isn't about superiority. It's about service. It's about wanting both of them to rise. He doesn't need to compete with her energy. He harmonizes with it. And that harmony creates something rare, a balance of strength and softness, of masculine and feminine, of love and respect. He's not perfect, and that's exactly what makes him real. When he makes mistakes, he takes responsibility. When he hurts her, he apologizes with sincerity, not excuses. When life challenges him, he doesn't shut down. He adjusts, he learns, he grows. His humility makes him even more attractive because a confident woman doesn't expect perfection. She expects effort. She knows love isn't flawless, but it's honest. And a man who's honest about where he is, who he is, and what he feels, that's the man she can build with. She's drawn to a man who brings peace to her chaos, not chaos to her peace. A man whose energy feels like stillness in a noisy world. Because she's spent years learning how to calm her own storms. She's learned how to stand alone, how to rebuild herself after heartbreak, how to protect her own peace. So when she meets a man who adds to that peace, who nurtures it, she doesn't take it lightly. That's not just attraction, that's alignment. And alignment feels different. It's not obsessive, it's not rushed, it's not built on the need to fill a void. It's slow, deep, and intentional. It feels like home, not like a high. When she's with him, she doesn't feel the urge to chase or prove herself. She can rest in her feminine energy, soft, trusting, open. Because she knows he's steady enough to hold it. What makes this man stand out even more is his quiet ambition. He doesn't brag about his plans, he moves in silence. He knows where he's going and he's focused on getting there. His discipline, his consistency, his resilience, all of it speaks to her spirit because she's ambitious too. And when she sees a man who's driven by purpose, not ego, she feels inspired. His passion fuels hers. His vision excites her. His energy elevates hers. But even in his pursuit of purpose, he never forgets presence. He knows when to pause, when to slow down, when to make her feel seen. He doesn't use his goals as an excuse to neglect connection. He understands that love is built in the small, consistent moments. The eye contact, the check-ins, the laughter that softens a long day. To him, her heart isn't a distraction from his mission, it's a reason to keep going. A confident woman can feel all this, not from what he says, but from what he radiates. His energy is calm, his intentions are clear, and his love feels honest. And she finds herself leaning in, not because she needs him, but because she feels safe with him. She feels seen, valued, understood. And that's everything she's been waiting for. He doesn't try to change her. He doesn't compete with her. He doesn't fear her strength. Instead, he stands beside her, proud, grounded, and grateful. He loves her loud but protects her quietly. And in a world where so many men seek control, his gentleness becomes his greatest power. A confident woman doesn't fall for charm. She's drawn to depth because she's seen charm before. She's heard all the right words, felt all the surface-level passion, and watched it fade as quickly as it appeared. What captures her now is something different. A man who has emotional depth, who doesn't just talk but listens, who doesn't just desire her body but respects her mind. She's drawn to the kind of man who asks her questions that make her think, who remembers the small things she says, who notices the tone of her voice when she's trying to hide her tiredness. He pays attention, not because he's trying to impress her, but because he genuinely cares. This man carries stillness within him. When she's around him, she feels her walls drop without even trying. He doesn't demand her vulnerability. He earns it. He makes her feel safe enough to take off the emotional armor she's been wearing for years. And when she finally does, he doesn't use her softness against her. He protects it. That's what makes him rare. He's strong, but not hard. He's gentle, but not weak. He knows how to hold her without controlling her. He gives her space to breathe, to grow, to simply be. He doesn't seek validation through dominance. His confidence isn't built on how loud he can speak or how much attention he can attract. It's quiet. The kind of confidence that comes from knowing who he is, what he stands for, and what he will and won't tolerate. That grounded energy draws her in because it mirrors her own. She's not impressed by power, she's moved by purpose. She's not looking for someone to complete her, she's looking for someone to complement her. When he speaks, his words have weight, not because they're rehearsed, but because they're real. He's not afraid of honesty, even when it's uncomfortable. He's not interested in playing roles or wearing masks. He lets her see the man behind the armor, the one who's been through failure, loss, growth, and healing. That transparency is magnetic because it tells her she's safe to be herself too. In his presence, she doesn't feel like she has to perform. She can laugh loudly, cry freely, dream wildly. And he loves every version of her. He challenges her not to control her, but to help her expand. When he sees her playing small, he reminds her who she is. When she doubts herself, he doesn't drown her in cliches. He reminds her of the truth she's already forgotten. He sees her potential even when she can't, and she respects that because real attraction isn't just about comfort, it's about growth. A confident woman doesn't want a man who makes her life easier, she wants one who makes her soul stronger. He's emotionally consistent. No mixed signals, no disappearing acts, no guessing games. He shows up every time in the same way. That reliability builds trust in ways grand gestures never could, because to her, consistency is romance. It's the foundation that lets love breathe. And the more she experiences it, the more she opens up. Because for a woman who's had to be strong alone, consistency feels like luxury. He's also deeply self-aware. He knows his triggers, his flaws, his wounds. He's done enough self-work to understand that love isn't about projecting pain onto someone else. It's about healing through connection. He's not perfect, but he's intentional. When he feels distance, he doesn't withdraw. He communicates. When conflict arises, he doesn't explode. He reflects. When she needs reassurance, he doesn't dismiss it. He offers it. That kind of emotional maturity creates an environment where love can actually thrive, not just survive, and there's something unspoken about the way he carries himself. His presence commands respect, but not fear. His silence speaks louder than most men's words. When he looks at her, it's not to evaluate, it's to understand. When he touches her, it's not to claim, it's to connect. Every move he makes is intentional, not performative. He doesn't chase attention, he attracts energy, because everything about him, his tone, his body language, his emotional stillness, communicates peace. And that's what confident women crave the most: peace. They've already known passion that burned too fast, attention that faded too soon, and promises that never followed through. What they long for now is peace, the kind that doesn't silence their fire but steadies it, the kind that doesn't take their strength for granted but celebrates it, the kind that says, I see you, all of you, and I'm not afraid of any part of you. With this man, she doesn't feel like she has to shrink herself. She doesn't feel like her strength is intimidating or her independence is a threat. Instead, he celebrates it. He understands that her confidence isn't competition, it's contribution. It's part of what makes her magnetic. He knows that loving a confident woman means giving her freedom, not control. It means supporting her dreams, not dimming them. He's her piece, not her project. She doesn't have to fix him, heal him, or teach him how to love. He's already done that work for himself. And because of that, the love they build together isn't chaotic. It's calm, it's mutual, it's steady, it's grown, not rushed. This man knows that connection isn't about possession, it's about alignment. And alignment only happens when two people meet from a place of wholeness, not need. He's whole, and so is she. And when two whole people choose each other, not out of loneliness, not out of dependency, but out of genuine love, it's powerful. It's the kind of connection that doesn't drain, it energizes. He's not perfect, and she doesn't expect him to be, but he's real. His love is patient, his presence is grounding. And that's why every confident woman, every woman who's done the work to love herself, feels drawn to him. Because he doesn't just meet her standards, he meets her soul. When a confident woman finally meets a man like this, something inside her shifts. It's not the rush of infatuation that makes her heart race. It's the calm that settles over her soul. It's the quiet knowing that she doesn't have to chase, prove, or perform. For the first time, she can simply be. She can rest in the safety of his energy because he doesn't take from her, he adds to her. And that kind of connection feels sacred. She feels seen in ways she's never felt before. He looks beyond her beauty, beyond her success, beyond the mask she wears when she faces the world. He sees her strength, yes, but also her softness. He recognizes her fire, but he's gentle with it. He doesn't dim her light to make himself feel brighter. He protects it. He stands beside her, proud to witness her shine, never threatened by it. And because of that, she begins to let him in, layer by layer, breath by breath. She starts to open up about her fears, her doubts, the quiet battles she fights alone. And instead of running, he listens. He doesn't fix her pain, he holds space for it. He gives her something she's rarely been given, understanding. The kind of understanding that says, you don't have to explain yourself to be loved here. That's when she knows. That's when her heart whispers, this feels different. Because love to a confident woman isn't about grand gestures. It's about energy. It's about how she feels when she's around you. It's about whether your presence brings peace or chaos, whether your words build her up or quietly break her down, whether she feels safe enough to be real. That's what connection looks like to her. And when she feels it, when she truly feels it, she can't help but be drawn to it. This kind of man doesn't confuse her. He doesn't play hot and cold. His consistency builds trust, and that trust builds desire. Because to a woman who's had to protect her heart, consistency is the most seductive thing there is. His steadiness tells her she can exhale, that she doesn't have to be on guard, that she can finally soften without fear of being hurt for it. And that softness, that surrender, becomes the bridge between them. She finds herself wanting to give more, not because he asks for it, but because his energy inspires it. She becomes more affectionate, more open, more feminine in his presence, not because she's trying to impress him, but because she feels safe enough to relax into that part of herself. That's what confident women crave. A man who makes them feel safe to be soft. A man who doesn't demand their submission but earns their trust. His presence becomes a grounding force in her life. When the world feels loud, he's her quiet. When her thoughts race, his energy steadies her. When she doubts herself, his belief in her reignites her strength. He's not there to complete her. She doesn't need completing. But his love reminds her that she doesn't have to do it all alone. It's not dependency, it's harmony. It's not control, it's balance. And for him, loving a confident woman isn't intimidating. It's inspiring. Her strength doesn't threaten his masculinity, it sharpens it. Her passion doesn't compete with his power. It complements it. Together, they create a love that feels like partnership, not possession. A love built on respect, not ego. A love that flows, not forces. He knows that when he loves her right, she'll give him more than he ever imagined. Not through submission, but through devotion. Because when a confident woman feels safe, when she feels seen, when she feels valued, her love multiplies. She becomes even more radiant, even more nurturing, even more magnetic. And that's what he cherishes most. Not just the way she looks, but the way she glows when she's loved right. This is the kind of love that doesn't just make sense. It feels right. It grows quietly, naturally, like two rivers meeting and becoming one. No chaos, no games, no uncertainty, just presence, just alignment. Just peace. Every confident woman is drawn to this kind of man, not because of what he has, but because of who he is. His energy speaks before his words do. His presence tells her everything she needs to know. He's grounded, intentional, emotionally mature, and spiritually aware. He doesn't chase, he attracts. He doesn't take, he gives. And in return, he receives the kind of love most men only dream of. The love of a woman who knows her worth and chooses him not out of need, but out of genuine connection. That's the truth about attraction. It's energy meeting energy. It's a dance between masculine stillness and feminine flow. It's the unspoken rhythm between two souls who see each other, feel each other, and choose each other again and again. So, if you ever wonder what kind of man every confident woman is drawn to, remember this: it's the man who doesn't compete with her energy, he balances it. The man who doesn't control her, he cherishes her. The man who doesn't run from her strength, he respects it. And the man who doesn't just want to be loved, he knows how to love in return. Because to a confident woman, love isn't just about words, it's about energy. And when the right man walks in with the right energy, calm, sure, grounded, she won't have to guess. She'll feel it. In the way her body relaxes, in the way her heart softens, in the way her soul says, finally,